Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Super Sports Bros. I am Jack, and I'm joined with
Ben.
And today we also have a very special guest introducing Mr. Farmer. So, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So today we're going to be talking a lot about the MVP race and the playoff picture within the NFL.
Heating up right now. It's heating up.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, what do you think they're going to do with the Bills and the Bengals game? How are they going to handle that situation? Prayers up to Damar Hamlin, especially with that. But they're probably not going to reschedule and play that game this week. Let's be totally honest.
No, not this. Definitely not this week. I think that maybe after week 18, they're gonna try to do something. If both teams are comfortable with not playing, I think they might just cancel the game in general.
Definitely. Like if the Bills lose to the Patriots, then they're not going to play the game because they're not in the contention for the 1 seed anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't really see them playing the game.
It's probably really not going to affect what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just move on, not play the game.
Yeah. If they do end up playing the game, they'll probably, my expectation is they're not going to play the game unless they hear that he's made a recovery and he's okay. But if he's not okay, there's no way you can make those players play that game.
The Bills made a statement saying that he has signs of improvement, but he's still in critical condition. He might be in an induced coma right now because of cardiac arrest.
Mm-hmm. What I've heard so far is they currently have him asleep in order to protect his neurological functions and his brain functions. So it's a little bit harder for him to breathe. But what they could do is they could wake him up, because if they wake him up, he breathes better, but they put his brain functions at risk.
Yeah,
so the doctors don't want to do that, so they're just keeping him in an induced coma for now.
They're waiting for his oxygen levels to improve.
That's if they wake him up too early and try to operate there, complications can happen. So I think they're trying to be as safe as possible. You don't want him to be liable to have paralysis or anything like that, you know?
Definitely.
I mean, it depends on what happens this week, with the standings. Kansas City is 13-3.
Bills are 12-3. Bengals are 11-4.
Right.
If the Bills win out, if they do play the Bengals game, and if they win out, they keep the 1 seed because they have the tiebreaker over the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think the Bills and the Chiefs are both advanced from the first round anyway.
Definitely. It's not really going to matter too much if they have the 1 seed, unless whoever is playing, unless that's a really deadly 7 seed. The 7 seed really isn't going to change. The 7 seed is going to be either the Pats, the Dolphins, or the Steelers.
All of them are beatable, especially by the Bills and Chiefs.
But you also, at this game coming up, a lot of teams are resting their starters.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
like you said, they are going to rest a lot of their starters, definitely. So speaking of one team that is going to rest their starters, they already clinched. The Giants did clinch the playoffs. So I know
nothing.
Ben is happy about that. I'm not a Giants fan, so I
Yeah.
don't got to worry about that.
I need the Giants to win.
Mm-hmm.
And the 49ers to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So that the Cowboys will be number 1 seed, NFC East.
If the Cowboys, I think when it was week 16, when the Eagles were still on their streak, they had like a 5% chance because everyone thought that the Eagles are just gonna win one more game and they're gonna clinch. But the Cowboys, 2-game winning streak, Eagles 2-game losing streak. Now they're in a position where they can get the number 1 seed and the bye. That would be great for the Cowboys. But
only problem, I feel like the hardest thing that you're going to get is the 49ers loss, because they're playing against Arizona Cardinals. And who's playing? Colt McCoy, or what was that guy? Greg Block? I don't even know who that is.
I don't know.
I can't. Where they're on like the
Wait,
6th string.
Who's starting for the 49ers?
I'm
Purdy?
pretty sure.
Yeah, Purdy.
Purdy's
I need the 49ers to lose so that the Giants have to play the 49ers in the first round.
Oh.
Just so that the Giants can be out, so I can put New York fans to sleep until next September.
Definitely. So if the 49ers do lose,
The 49ers are probably not losing to the Cardinals, to be completely honest.
No, they're not going to probably lose to Arizona.
yeah.
The quarterback?
He's pretty good. He's been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
So
journeyman.
apparently they're going to start David Blau as their quarterback.
David Blau.
27-year-old veteran. Last game, he had 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Okay,
That's not that bad.
that's decent.
but
But it's against the Falcons defense as well, and they still lost that game.
Yeah, and it did not end up well.
I I mean, as far as the Eagles, no one knows how serious Jalen Hurts' shoulder is.
Definitely. I've heard reports saying that he's going to come back this week, but I also heard reports saying he
For-
was totally fine in week 16. And look now, he's been out the past 2 weeks.
I know they're gonna have to deal with that. When I saw them thinking that he's gonna play week 16, I was like, no way. You can't just have something like that and then just play the very next week. No.
It's a chess match. He injured his throwing shoulder.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a chess match that teams play, and it'll be interesting to see going forth. Playoffs is a different world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think something similar happened to Cam Newton at one point, right?
Yeah.
The
There
Panthers
was
pushed his injury.
so Cam Newton had a injury to his, I believe it was a high ankle sprain that they pushed.
It
I
was-
don't think it was an arm injury. I think it was a leg injury.
Like lower extremity.
Yeah.
All right.
So they pushed him, and then he ended up getting really hurt, and then he was out for almost a full season, and he needs surgery. So it really wasn't worth it for them. So we're not actually sure if the Eagles are really going to push Jalen Hurts, because either they push Hurts to play this week and they get the 1 seed, or they can push Minshew and hope Minshew can make some Minshew magic, because they're playing against a Giants team that they're going to start Matt Breida.
We'll probably start some of our defense that's come back, like Xavier McKinney just came back, so he's probably gonna start to get experience. The thing about resting your quarterback though, if Jalen Hurts is not healthy, he's missed 3 straight weeks, going right into a playoff game against a top team. We've seen that for a few quarterbacks that just come back and play well at that position. But he's the quarterback. He's missed 3 weeks. He's not warmed up. He has a shoulder injury. That can really affect their chances of playoffs.
Definitely.
Definitely does. It's happened in the past. Sometimes that way off. Even for a team that receives the number 1 seed, that first week bye,
Yeah.
they come out the following week and they're sluggish
And it's done.
because everybody else is warmed up.
Exactly.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I don't know what's gonna happen with Jimmy Garoppolo on that point for the 49ers, because he got paid to be a backup. Then Trey Lance gets hurt week 2 something, horrible injury. He comes back, he gets hurt, and now Brock Purdy is playing excellent. No one thought that Brock Purdy was gonna play as well as he has.
Brock Purdy's going to be the franchise QB next year.
Negatives. Next
Really?
year,
Do you think Trey Lance?
it
Trey
goes
Lance
back
is
to
coming
Trey
back?
Lance. And
I can see that. I
Jimmy,
can see
Jimmy
that.
G either goes to the Jets.
Or the Raiders. I've seen that.
someplace.
I think he
Jets,
goes to a
Raiders,
different team.
Carolina,
Yeah, he's going.
like those.
Hopefully, it'll be the Jets.
He gets
Hopefully.
too much. He gets too much hate. Jimmy Garoppolo. He's honestly a consistent quarterback.
Definitely. So definitely, it would be very interesting if Jimmy Garoppolo got traded away. I could also see Jimmy getting traded to a team like the Tennessee Titans, because I know they do have Josh Dobbs, they do have Malik Willis, they do have Ryan Tannehill. But how much longer are you really going to have Ryan Tannehill for? You don't really know. Same thing with the Bucks. How much longer is Tom Brady going to stay and play the game?
But it comes down to what you have that's available. Remember, Jimmy G is only a 1-year contract,
Exactly.
and it's going to be his choice to go where he wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be about money. It's a business.
Some specific teams have quarterback issues. The Jets are having that. You guys probably would prefer Mike White over Zach Wilson, right?
100%. I'm not even a Jets fan, but I know everyone would prefer Mike White over Zach Wilson.
The locker room likes Mike White.
Over Zach. Did you hear what Zach Wilson said after he dropped like 16 points? He said, "Was it your fault?" And the defense was relying on you. And he said, "No." He doesn't take blame for anything. That's what happened when he was at BYU as well. That's one thing I noticed.
That's what happened when they
He was
got
the
shut out by
number
the Patriots.
He was the number 1. He's the number 2 pick of that draft. It was Trevor Lawrence, him, and there was another quarterback. That was Trey Lance, the
Trey
number
Lance.
3 pick.
And I'm pretty sure Justin Fields went that same year, I think, right? Or is that year before? It's one of the two.
Might have been a year before.
Yeah.
But what I do know is if the Jets originally were going to have the number 1 pick,
Right.
but they were heavily underdogs in 2 games, and they won their last 2 games.
They won
of the
their
season,
last 2 games of the season to give the Jaguars.
the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And then the
what's going on
Jaguars
with the
came-
Jaguars.
You see the Jaguars now? Exactly.
They were back-to-back number 1 pick, lowest worst record in the league, and now
Now
They
look
have a
at 'em.
chance to make it to the playoffs. That's crazy.
I believe they're in the playoffs.
If they win this week, it's either the Jaguars versus the Titans. Whoever
Yeah.
wins this match wins the division and then goes into the playoffs as the 4th seed. So
That's interesting.
That's
They'll
a perfect
be-
scenario.
exactly.
That's interesting.
The top 2 teams in the division, and either one, if it's a draw, it's not going to be a draw. But Jaguars still go in. But Jaguars, that's a must-win game for them.
They're a scary team coming up in the playoffs. Because,
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is playing,
He's
lights
playing
out.
amazing football.
and their defense is lights out.
Exactly.
The
Their
defense,
defense
flies
is
around
really
the
stepping
field.
up.
They get after the ball.
Definitely.
They're on a streak, same as the Lions. But I highly doubt that the Lions make it now.
I don't know. Actually, see, it really matters. Seattle's game is what matters. Actually, no, sorry. Seattle's game matters for the Lions and for Seattle. Green Bay has everything in their own hands.
Yeah.
If Green Bay wins, they're in. If they lose, they're out. It's as simple as that.
And the Packers are on a 4-game winning streak as well.
Exactly. And all they have to do is crush their divisional rivals and Jared Goff. So we'll have to see if Jared Goff is actually able to play a little bit of good football. If he's not able to play any football, then Jair Alexander, I want to see that matchup versus Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. If you go back to what week was this? This was around week 9 or week 8. The Lions faced the Packers, and it was 15-9, very low scoring game. But the Lions won that game. Aaron Rodgers had 3 interceptions. That's the first time he had 3 interceptions in like years at that point. Jared Goff threw two touchdowns, got an interception, and the Lions won that game.
Mm-hmm. So the Lions did win this year over the Packers, which
And
is
that
very
was
important to
at
note.
Detroit. Now they play at Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to win in Lambeau.
It'll be interesting to see what's going on.
Definitely. Lambeau and Arrowhead are definitely probably the best home field advantage stadiums
Yeah.
in the
Seattle.
NFL right now.
Seattle.
Seattle as well. As well as Buffalo has a really good advantage because,
If you want to go to
always
Canada,
yeah, they are very snowy.
not that there's
So,
anything wrong with Canada, but if you want to go to Canada, it's a lot of snow up there, and the fans, it's cold.
Yeah.
definitely.
with
I don't
the-
know if you saw the game with with Miami and Buffalo, and they were actually throwing snowballs at Tua while he was on the field.
I know, that was sad to see.
Which it was really sad to see, but
That's the fans. I mean,
That's the
stands
fans.
Are
Fans
fanatic,
will be fans.
and some
Exactly.
people are really fanatics about their team. It's unfortunate, but it happens.
I will say the best thing about them going to Buffalo though is Mike McDaniel's shirt. He had the shirt that he wore during the warm-ups, and it said, "I wish this stadium was colder." And it was just this bright shirt because it was funny because it was a completely different shirt.
Right.
Because Tua at the beginning of the season during his press conferences, he would always wear, "I wish the stadium was hotter," or it was something like that.
Play on words, and
Play on words, yeah.
mind over matter. You just have to learn to play with the extremities in the cold weather, but it's hard.
They'll be able to bring it home.
We'll see.
One little thing I want to say is that if I had a team that can go forward, like a dark horse, for example, I think that the Chargers are going
Yes.
to be a dark horse.
Definitely.
The Chargers,
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville might actually have to play the Chargers. If the Chargers win next week and Jacksonville wins, that's one of the games.
Honestly, anyone in the AFC,
Mhm.
you have Bengals, Ravens, probably Jaguars, Chiefs, Chargers, Bills.
Bengals.
Bengals, definitely. Yeah, because let's say the Chiefs stay number 1 seed. Things stay as they are. That means we have Bills, and then we have either Bills or whichever is the 7th seed.
Are the Patriots still in contention?
Yes, if the Patriots win this week, they're in, and they're good. And now we just got to figure out who the 7th seed is going to be, whether it's going to be Miami or the Steelers. So with that, we are going to take a quick break, and we will be back in 2 minutes. Stay tuned. And we are back. So, like I said, Ben, this discussion on the 7th seed is very interesting. We got the Patriots 8-8. We got the Dolphins at 8-8. We got the Steelers at 8-8. So the only way for the Steelers to make it in is with a Dolphins loss, a Patriots loss, and a Steelers win.
Steelers aren't making it, to be honest. But I feel bad. I want the Dolphins to make it through because they've just been the roller coaster team of the year.
Definitely.
Every year
They've been
we have
up
some
and
other
down and
teams.
up and down and up, and it really hasn't changed. 'cause
Honestly,
it's been changing.
if anything, there's teams that started off bad and then came back. The Packers did that. The Lions did that. The Jaguars did that. But this team has just been on and off. And I would feel bad because Miami has such a good roster, offensively at least. Offensively.
They also have a good roster defensively. Xavier Howard is insane.
I don't know what happened to his hands though.
Neither
Because
did I.
because remember, like 2 years ago he
Mhm.
had like 10 interceptions, which is crazy. For a lockdown corner like that to have those hands.
Yeah, he's focused a lot more on
Just
coverage
straight
and
straight
just straight
defense.
defense, just trying to get that ball, block it. He's not as focused on catching the ball anymore. He's just focused on blocking the ball and making sure no one else can catch it.
Yeah, I hope that Miami makes it through.
Definitely. Now, like you said, teams that started off bad but ended up really good. There are also a lot of teams that started off good and then ended off really rough. So teams like that include the Jets, the Commanders.
Commanders. I mean, they were.
Commanders! What happened?
Oh my god. Alright. So, I mean, the Commanders season they started off 1-4, and then they had that streak, and then they just fell apart. A lot of people were banking on the Washington Commanders. Also, Chase Young. I forgot about that name.
Yeah, he's
Chase
back
Young,
now.
He's back.
Chase Young is back now, but he's not doing anything. What I would
know.
like to say, though, is you know how they traded Chase Claypool, right? You know how the Steelers traded Chase Claypool to the Bears, right?
I think that was a good trade by the Steelers.
That was a really good trade by the Steelers because the Steelers have been 5-2
Yeah,
in the
without
last 7 games without Claypool,
and he
and the
he
Bears
gets
have been
hurt.
0-7.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't think I think Chase Claypool. I think his best season is gonna be his rookie season, which is sad to say, but
I think he kind of fell off. I'll be totally honest.
he's still very young. But his overconfidence is what really did it for him.
That is true.
And in his second year, he went from wide receiver, possibly future wide receiver number 1 for the Steelers, to getting traded and he's gonna be in the shadow of Darnell Mooney. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be between him.
Maybe
Darnell
not in
Mooney.
the shadow, but he's not gonna be wide receiver number 1.
No, I think might even be below Byron Pringle on the depth chart, which is saying something. Because if you're below someone, their last name is literally Pringle, and you're below them on the depth chart.
He's very fast.
That's kind of rough. He's a pretty good player. It's just not many people consider him like a full-time player because I don't really see as much on him. He was traded from the Chiefs. He was traded during the offseason to the Bears, or maybe he was a free agent and re-signed. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
To be totally honest. But
Talking about the Chiefs, we have a potential MVP as of right now, which is possibly Patrick Mahomes. I mean,
definitely.
that race is weird. I think that since Patrick Mahomes is probably gonna pass 5,000, I think he's gonna eventually get it. I said earlier, it went from Josh Allen to Mahomes, to Jalen Hurts, back to Mahomes. And similar stuff happened in the Defensive Player of the Year race
Definitely.
with Nick Bosa. But I think Mahomes is going to take it.
What I've seen is I've also seen that they're saying that there might not only do a quarterback MVP. They're saying they might be a non-quarterback MVP this year. So I've seen a lot of people talking about Justin Jefferson. I've seen a lot of people talking about Nick Bosa.
It would probably have to be. If T.J. Watt was healthy the whole entire season, I'm telling you that guy would have been like 17, 18 sacks. He's really that good. When I see him play against the Giants, I'm always scared for Daniel Jones. But if it's a non-quarterback MVP, probably Justin Jefferson.
Definitely.
Justin Jefferson I don't think he needs to have a really good game, but he was on track to beat Calvin Johnson's record.
He was. Except
then he
for
got-
this crazy game.
Yeah, and then he just got clamped by the Packers. Not really his fault. Not really. The Vikings just fell apart. We've seen that twice this season with the Vikings. They got destroyed by the Cowboys, and they got destroyed by the Packers.
Mm-hmm. They did get.
And I think they're going to get
completely
destroyed in
obliterated.
the playoffs, honestly. Shades of that 11-0 Steelers team.
I know, right? It's rough. It's crazy. What I will say is, I just saw here. There's a little bit of new news on Damar Hamlin. This came out a couple of minutes ago. Damar Hamlin has shown remarkable improvement. He has demonstrated that he appears to be neurologically intact, as the Buffalo Bills announced. Ian Rappaport also said that Damar Hamlin opened his eyes last night and is responsive. And they said that they are endlessly appreciative of the medical care given to him on the field immediately.
He's awake.
And then over
Wow.
the last 72 hours. So they said he did wake up, which is great.
Which is great.
So that's great to hear.
This
We will
is-
keep you updated with any more news on Damar Hamlin in the near future.
Yeah, his situation is looking better and better by the minute. I mean, he has top level doctors, top level nutritionists, everything. So we still have to put. It's not over. The battle's not over. But when someone is awake, especially from something like that, a cardiac arrest, that's a good sign. That's a really good sign.
Yeah. So something else we should look at. So Damar Hamlin is a lot better now, which is good, which is amazing. Something else that we should also look at is we should look a little bit more back at the MVP race like we were talking about. I'm trying to pull up what I found before. I found something on some of the best players for each position. And it was
Do you think running back
basically
is Josh Jacobs this year?
tiering a lot of the players.
You know what
Honestly, I
was
don't know. I'm
crazy?
not sure.
Christian McCaffrey didn't make the Pro Bowl game,
Yes.
which made absolutely no sense to me.
That is insane. I have no clue how
People
he
were
is
talking
not
about
in
how
that Pro Bowl.
Tua was snubbed, Jalen Waddle, but Christian McCaffrey,
Mhm.
when that guy's healthy, you already know.
Definitely. So it's this has all the things going into best quarterbacks going into week 13.
Yeah, Mahomes. Probably Mahomes.
Mhm. Let me check. Where is it? It also has. This is week 18. Best edge rushers going into week 18. Who do you think is up there?
Edge rushers, do they consider like outside linebacker or more of a defensive end?
It's a mix of both. So, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa,
Nick Bosa, yeah.
Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett,
Chandler
Max
Jones in
Crosby,
there?
Matt Judon. That's tier 1. Tier 2, Hendrickson, Zadarius Smith, Josh Allen, defensive Josh Allen, just in case. Hassan Reddick, Brian Burns, Daniel Hunter,
Hassan Reddick's been playing.
Jalen Phillips, Aiden Hutchinson, Joey Bosa, Cameron Jordan, Khalil Mack. Who are you looking for?
Chandler Jones
Chandler Jones.
or Preston Smith.
Preston Smith is here, yes.
Wow, that's crazy if they don't include Chandler Jones.
Yeah, he is. I do not see Chandler Jones as edge rusher. There are a lot of really good cornerbacks right now. Who do you think the best cornerback is in the NFL right now?
A lot of people were saying Sauce Gardner going into midweek. I don't think it's Jalen Ramsey anymore, to be honest. I think that maybe there's so many good ones. Maybe Jari Alexander.
Jair Alexander, Patrick Surtain, Darius Slay,
Pat Surtain, yeah. Pat
Marlon
Surtain is just on the
Humphrey.
wrong team.
Marshawn Lattimore, James Bradbury, Patrick Peterson, Trayvon Diggs is up there. Stephon Gilmore.
It's crazy how Patrick Peterson is still as good as he is.
I know, right? Tyson Campbell. Who else? DJ Reed. So everyone's always talking about Sauce Gardner, but both of the Jets corners are really good. DJ Reed is also incredibly good for that Jets defense.
Yeah, I think he's overshadowing DJ Reed as well.
The Jets defense is honestly the best thing about that team, 100%. If they had a little bit of a better quarterback and potentially a little bit of improvement in that running back room, they would be totally fine.
Hey,
Garrett Wilson is a stud. You've got Tyler Conklin. You got C.J. Uzama. You have Braxton Berrios for all your trick plays.
you have to look on the bright side though. At least you didn't pay 5-year $260 million for the freaking Russell Wilson.
Oh my gosh, Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson both got huge contracts.
Yeah.
And what? No, they're awful.
Honestly, awful is an understatement for their expectations. They're not bad players, but for what the Broncos expected, playoffs. Uh, it's sad, but they have next season to recover. They're gonna get a high draft pick. They're 4-12. That team should not be 4-12. That
Yeah,
team
no.
shouldn't be 6-10.
That team, in all honesty, based on how they played this year, they should probably be like, honestly, like 2-14. I think
They'll be
they might be
competing with
worse
the
than the Texans as the worst team in the NFL right now.
Texans got their second win, shocking the Titans.
Texans
was-
did get a big win. That was a big win for them, which is good.
Yeah, that was just like 2 weeks ago. And then the Jaguars, the Jaguars in the first half. It wasn't even their offense. Trevor Lawrence threw for 0 touchdowns and 1 interception, but the score was 31-3. That's to showcase how bad the Texans are.
Because the defense was incredibly well against the Texans. The Jaguars' defense is something that is now underrated because they have so many stars now.
Yeah.
Because they've got Tyson Campbell, they have Josh Allen, they have a lot of other players as well. They have who else do they have on that defense? I don't know.
You said Tyson Campbell, right?
Yes,
They have Devin Lloyd, who's a good linebacker. They have a few players.
Andre Cisco, they have him too. They have
Rashawn Jenkins.
they have Olakun. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they have a pretty nice defense.
Yeah, they have him. They signed him in the offseason. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the first name.
The sad thing about the Titans, though, is that they just don't have star power.
Yeah, the biggest star in the Titans right now is probably Kevin Byard. I'll be totally honest.
Texans,
safety.
Kevin Byard.
Oh no, sorry, Titans. I
Oh,
thought you
Titans.
said Titans.
Titans don't have that star power besides Derrick Henry as well.
Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard. Texans.
They just
Damian Pierce.
Damian Pierce, who's
He's
injured
hurt.
now.
No one else.
Literally nobody
Brandon
else.
Cooks
Brandon Cooks
is no, not anymore. Brandon Cooks is done now. Chris Moore, no.
no.
I don't even know if they have a tight end right now. I don't know what their tight end situation is.
OJ Howard.
Ooh,
Let's see what he's done this season.
wasn't he on the
Not a
Bills
lot.
at the beginning of the season? Because he was on. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
he
sure
was-
he
he
was
was on the
on
Bills.
the Bucks when they won the Super Bowl, and then he went to the Bills, and then I'm pretty sure he went to the Texans after that.
Yeah, so this season in 13 games he has 10 receptions for 145.
That's rough. This
That's
season has
very
been
rough.
full of crazy stuff.
That's very rough.
So next week we will discuss the last week of the regular season, and we will talk about the playoff brackets.